If there's anything that I remember my mom for above anything else is that she was a tremendous listener. My mom could engage with somebody and make that person feel like they're the most important person in the room.
I think the personality traits that I think were the major reason for her success really was that she was a great communicator. She was loyal. She was a kind person, and she made people feel comfortable. She spoke softly and carried a big stick. There was no question about that.
My mom really led by example. So she taught me, first of all, how to be a loving spouse. And then, of course, she was a really dedicated mother. She was a successful, dedicated businesswoman, a loyal friend, and finally, a caring daughter to her aging parents.
I think one of the ways that my mom inspired other people in the industry is how she had an uncanny ability to balance her position as one of the leaders of the organization and being very assertive and very perfectionist and attention to detail and having very high standards for everybody, but at the same time being a very likable and warm person to work with. And sometimes those things don't always go hand in hand.
The personality traits that led to my mom's professional success, I would have to say, was her drive for excellence, and I link that up with her competitive nature. And then secondly, her ability to make other people feel comfortable and to feel important and to feel heard. And then her success as a mom. You don't want me to start crying.
She had this special persona that made it easy for people to like her. She was able to deal with issues and talk to people in a way that made them feel comfortable.
So my mom was very much a role model for people. I think as soon as you met her and worked with her, she was always put together, always professional, just well-dressed, everything. You never kind of saw her out of her element. And so people really looked up to her as a role model, especially I think for young women in the field. She treated everybody equally. She was really one of these assertive, powerful business people who was also very humble and kind.
Julie Flik was ahead of her time. Back in 1985, she hired me as the first dietitian nutritionist for Flik International Corp. That in and of itself was revolutionary, because what contract food service company would ever want a dietitian telling everyone, particularly chefs, about healthy eating? And what would it do to revenue? I wasn't that popular. But turns out, Julie had us well positioned when good nutrition and wellness became a huge trend and so important to our clients and the business. Anyone who knew Julie knew she set the bar high, very high. Okay was not acceptable. Our work had to be the best. And when that elevated standard was set for us at the home office, it was expected throughout the company. Because of this, I always looked up to Julie.
I will always remember Julie for her steely resolve, superior intellect, and most of all, her loving kindness to all.
There's one thing I learned from my mom was to put your people first. She worked in HR for a while. She wore many hats at Flik, and I worked with her in the HR department for the summer or something, and watched my mom go over resumes and focusing on really hiring the right people, and then once you bring the right people on board, to take good care of those people. And my mom always had as a primary goal to treat everybody within the organization as an equal. It was all one big team for a greater good.
The way my mom inspired future generations would be in the generosity she gave with her time to mentor other women. And I really think she showed that women can lead in their own different way, maybe a little bit more behind the scenes at times, with a quiet confidence and a steadfast nature.
She had an incredible emotional intelligence, which I didn't, and I learned from that. She was an incredible listener, which I was not, and she never prejudged people. Those three things I remember clearly were life lessons I learned from Julie.